I'm Layla.
Welcome back to our channel, Elementary, my dear,
Where we make nutrition science easy for you to digest.
So today we're talking about how non-nutritive sweeteners work. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video.
So non-nutritive sweeteners, you might know them as artificial sweeteners, calorie-free sweeteners,
low-calorie sweeteners, lots of different names. But just a quick disclaimer, today we're not going to be going over like health claims or health risks or health outcomes, anything like that. We're just going to talk about the science behind how can something like make food sweeter and delicious without giving you any calories.
Honestly, it's pretty cool science. Before we begin, we'll talk a little bit about sweetness and kind of how that works. We have 5 tastes. There's some debate about which ones count and which ones don't, but for the most part, 5 tastes, and one of them is sweetness. Basically, for most of those tastes, we have special receptors on our tongue, which I know you can't see them, but if you like zoom into your taste buds, you would see a bunch of little receptors, and they trap little molecules. And what's crazy is you taste it on your tongue, but what's actually happening is when those receptors interact with a molecule, it sends a message up to your brain, and your brain goes down and says, you taste sweet. And then that's kind of how sweetness works.
And it's kind of crazy because like a wide variety of types of molecules can actually trigger that, action potential that goes up to the brain to kind of tell you, oh, you're experiencing something sweet. And what's crazy is like food scientists actually really exploit all the science of taste buds. And I think we mentioned this in one of our other videos, but with things like chips and stuff, they like very specifically like designed like the salt crystals and stuff to optimally fit into the taste buds.
The optimum response from your brain.
To make it the most palatable and like the most, you know how they say like once you pop you can't stop or whatever. It's to kind of maximize that impact. Anyway, food science is super cool.
It's very interesting. Normally we think sucrose, which is like the fancy word for sugar, and that's what interacts with those receptors on your tongue, or that sweetness that's in fruit that comes from glucose or fructose. That interacts with the little receptors on your tongue. But again, food scientists have been able to exploit their knowledge of these receptors to be able to create things that give us that nice sensation of sweetness without, the calories that are associated with sugar.
They've been used in a lot of food products and beverages lately too. So something like, a regular Pepsi can will typically have about 150 calories, but a Diet Pepsi has 0 calories. And it's because of using things like non-nutritive sweeteners. So there are kind of 3 categories. There's natural sweeteners, artificial, and sugar alcohols. So I'll first go over the natural ones.
Natural sweeteners have been getting a lot of hype recently. I think stevia is in like everything. I think that people are more accepting of a lot of natural things. So yeah, it's really cool that plants can produce these things that are sweet in taste but do not have those calories like we see with sugar and the typical sweet things that we see in plants.
Stevia actually comes from a plant which is also called stevia. And the reason that we get that sweet sensation is because of the glycosides in it. So it's basically a chemical molecule that can fit into our sweet taste receptors. But our bodies actually can't metabolize it, which is why we don't get any calories from it.
I have, had some mixed experiences with stevia. I think, in small amounts, or like when it's added to things, it can be good. But I've had experiences on this stuff just tastes off.
Is it bitter?
Yeah, it has a little bit of bitterness to it.
You hear that a lot. I don't know if I've ever had it in a product where I've experienced that, but that is something that's commonly reported, that at higher levels that you can have some sort of bitter or like licorice type taste, which is not what you want.
I'm very sensitive, I think, to artificial sweeteners. I find there's like an empty taste.
And we'll get into this in our next video, but I think that's a common concern. There is some thought that maybe these non-nutritive sweeteners don't actually trigger the same satiety signals or the way it impacts some hormones. Does it actually help with things like weight loss? You know, there is some controversy about that, and we'll get into that in our next video.
So, should we give stevia a try?
We forgot to introduce all of this stuff. We're going to be trying out some of these sweeteners as we go along.
We have 3 different ones, and I also have sugar here as a comparison because this is the real thing. This is the real deal, and these are kind of imitators, and we're going to see which one can get there the best.
You heard right. We're just going to have spoonfuls of sweeteners right now.
Do you want to try some sugar first?
Okay.
Okay. Also, this is not very scientific.
So this is a stevia, and the brand is Pura Via liquid sweetener.
Why did I buy that one? It was on sale at Loblaws this week.
You know what? That's what you got to do.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm wondering if we should have opened these
beforehand
ahead of time.
Yeah.
Major regrets for
lack of
organization here. Oh, you're already ready.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's the nails. It was
You're holding me back.
So, should we try the sugar?
Are you actually putting all of this in your mouth?
Yeah.
That's a lot of sugar.
I love sugar. Cheers.
Cheers. You're literally okay.
It's actually quite a bit of sugar, honestly. I should have put less. Next time I'll put less.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I'll back you. This I'm going to try and be very judicious. Wait, is that the right word? Judicious?
Oh, wow. For some reason, I don't know why I thought this would look more like honey.
It looks like water.
It literally looks like water.
Oh, it doesn't smell good.
Oh, I don't mind the smell.
It smells like chemicals and lotion.
You know what? It doesn't smell good in a food kind of way, but it's... Did you have it? You ate it?
Oh, that's disgusting.
Did you eat it?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Oh, sorry. We'll do a post cheers.
Rude.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so it's bad?
It's terrible.
Okay, I'm just gonna lick it. Oh.
That's terrible.
Oh, wow. It is like really sweet, but also really bitter.
Absolutely putrid.
How? But to be fair, I think if it's like used in things.
Okay, I guess what do they have on here? Coffee? Oh no, they don't have anything on here. What would you use this in? Like a coffee?
You're gonna go for it again?
Yeah. Actually, I guess this wouldn't.
Wow, that tastes.
Really
wow.
bad.
I don't like it. Honestly, it's like equal parts sweet and equal parts something really gross.
Terrible, like medicinal.
Yeah, very medicinal.
Okay, I'm just gonna take some more
You
sugar.
need to clear the palate a little bit.
My sugar. But luckily, there are other natural sweeteners. Another one that's like being looked into a lot more is monk fruit extract. It is actually a recently approved in Canada non-nutritive sweetener. And what's really interesting about monk fruit is it's actually not a carbohydrate that gives it its sweetness, it's an antioxidant.
Monk fruit is like the small round fruit that comes from Southeast Asia, and you know, like most fruits, it does have natural sugars in it, but in terms of the actual sweetener, like when they're processing it, they basically extract that antioxidant from it, and the antioxidant is called magroside. Because it's the antioxidant that again is like fitting into those taste receptors and telling you that it's sweet, it's not actually like sugar or carbs that's giving you that sweet taste, so no calories.
I wish I had some of that instead of the stevia because that was The next one I want to talk about is allulose, and I specifically included this because it's one that's very near and dear to my heart. Me and allulose, we have a bit of a history. Allulose is found in some fruits and other plants, even wheat. It's found in there, and it's actually fructose, but basically the bond is different at a certain position, and your body doesn't know how to process that specific type of bond. It's like literally just like a different direction, and your body's like, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah.
So you don't end up metabolizing it.
Biochemistry is weird.
It's really weird.
You can have the exact same chemical structure, but if like the way the bonds, if it's a little bit differently, your body will treat it completely differently.
Allulose, it's not approved in Canada, but it is approved in the United States. It's supposed to not have a bitter aftertaste. As I've mentioned, it is near and dear to my heart because I did a lot of research on allulose containing products. I did in vitro research, so I saw basically how it affected blood sugar. It's crazy because we compared it to white bread and to sugar. I'm like, you see like the sugar release of like white bread and sugar is like woo, but these like it was like, almost like undetectable.
I think that's why, you know, even beyond keto diets, you know, a lot of these types of sweeteners like such as stevia, it's often recommended for people with diabetes that need to manage their blood sugar levels in order to manage diabetes. Shall we move on to artificial sweeteners? The name suggests these do not come from nature. They were created in a lab.
And I think like, you know, people see artificial and they get really, really scared. Aspartame has a wild story.
Its origin stories are super weird, and I feel like these types of things would never happen now.
I hope not.
I hope not as well, because it's super sketchy. So basically it was 1965 and some chemist was actually working on an anti-ulcer drug, and basically he was like working with some chemicals and some extracts of things, and something got on his finger, and so apparently no gloves were being worn or no hand washing happened.
Or just like the general rule of like lab is like don't put your hands in your mouth in the lab.
It's generally a no eating zone in general. So I don't know what the protocols of this lab was back in that day, but he decided to put it in his mouth and he was greeted with an intense sweetness and he was like, whoa.
And that is how we got aspartame.
Happy accident again, but again, would never happen today, I feel. At least if you're following protocols, which you should. It could have been a poisonous thing for all we know.
They're like, oh, we just found out that this plus this equals death.
Yeah.
You know, but we found this plus this equals sweet.
So aspartame is pretty cool because it's almost like a protein in a way. It's made up of amino acids. So it's made up of aspartic acid and phenylalanine as well as some methanol. So it does have some calories, but it's actually 200 to 300 times sweeter than regular sugar. So you basically get to use way less of it to sweeten a food, which is why like the amount of calories that you actually end up ingesting is actually basically negligible.
We do have our good friend Equal. Equal? I don't know. It's literally a word. Ooh, it has like a very fancy dispenser here.
Oh,
so
weird.
You just go like, oh, should I do it for you?
Oh, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, you do it. It's really
I really thought that this was a lid.
No, okay, honestly,
it's not.
They got me on the packaging.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little concerned about putting this in my mouth because I think you're supposed to like dissolve it in like a hot beverage.
We got our aspartame pills here. To be fair though, these actually are a mix of quite a few different things. There's erythritol, aspartame, lactose, a bunch of different stuff.
Are you actually putting this whole thing in your mouth?
Yep.
Oh, really?
Don't,
We're just doing it?
Yeah, we're doing it.
We're doing it?
You're doing it.
Okay, ready?
All right, run.
Set, go.
Oh, it's kind of cooling, minty. You get that?
It's like candy almost.
It's a little bit bitter, but
I'm not getting bitter. Oh, I like it.
Once you swallow though, it's kind of medicine.
No, I swallowed it. I unintentionally bit it and it like dissolved super quickly.
Much better than the stevia.
You still look kind of disgusted though.
Yeah, there's a bitter taste at the end. But they got points for me for the packaging.
Can you imagine waking up every day just popping that into
like,
your coffee?
like
Another artificial sweetener is saccharin. This is actually 300 to 400 times sweeter than sucrose. The reason that it has no calories is it actually leaves your body unchanged because your body can't break it down.
It is quite a bit sweeter, but it does have a bitter aftertaste. So a lot of times when you see things that are like saccharin based, they're mixed with other stuff to try to cut that bitter taste out. Hopefully it's not mixed with stevia because
that's not gonna help.
That's not gonna help.
I mean, we say that it can't break it down, like your body can't break it down, so it leaves your body unchanged. I think it's kind of cool because like in the world of biology and physiology, like when something is in your digestive tract, it's almost not considered as like being inside your body.
Yes. There's like a whole theory of like it's like a certain like paradigm that people look at where like the inside of your intestinal tract is outside of your body.
Yeah, because it's, I mean, when you think about it, it's just like a hole, like a giant hole going through your body, even though it interacts very intimately with the actual inside of your body.
Yeah.
But if food that you ingest stays within your digestive tract, that means your body is not using it. Another artificial sweetener is sucralose, and this is kind of weird, but it's actually made from sucrose. So sucrose is made up of a glucose and a fructose molecule, and there's a lot of hydroxyl groups all over the place.
We have to like memorize them.
Oh my god!
I think like the difference between sucrose and fructose is like I think one of the hydroxyl is like switched.
Yeah.
To, like, Honestly, that was a rough time for me. Is trying to
And
memorize
us doing this is like the drawing of like the line going up or line going down.
Yeah.
But hydroxyl groups, I should say, is an oxygen and a hydrogen attached to each other. So basically in sucrose, like we said, there's a whole bunch of those on it. And in the lab, they go in and they replace 3 of those groups with chlorine. And for some reason, that makes it 400 to 700 times sweeter than sucrose.
Which is insane. If we can get a food scientist somewhere down here telling us how exactly putting the chlorine in makes the message to your brain 400 times stronger, I guess that would be what was happening.
Yeah, I'm very curious to find out what the chlorine is doing and how someone arrived at that.
Being like, let me just add some chlorine.
Yeah, we'll start with 1 and then work our way up.
Sucralose is probably one of the best known artificial sweeteners. It's used in Splenda. Splenda was huge. It's not just pure sucralose. It's mixed with dextrose and maltodextrin, so it brings up the calories to 3.36 calories per gram, which is pretty similar to sugar. But the thing is, it has sucralose in there, and because that sucralose is 400 to 700 times stronger, you just need to put in like a really small amount compared to if you were using just
straight up sucrose.
Yeah, exactly. So that is how Splenda works, and that is sucralose.
And then we have sugar alcohols, which basically has sugar and alcohol as, not everyone is super creative with the name.
I know. Where's our saccharines? Where's our sugar
But
alcohols?
when we say alcohol, we basically mean like an OH group. It's not actually like alcohol in the sense of getting intoxicated.
Getting turned off of our erythritol.
So there's no ethanol in it.
But like anything that you see that has that all ending is like a type of alcohol, but it's not like a type of alcohol you drink to get drunk or like you put in a cocktail. It's just like a science word. Sugar
alcohols do have calories, but they have less calories than most carbs and sugars because they're only partially digestible by humans. And examples of sugar alcohols are things like sorbitol, erythritol,
xylitol,
mannitol.
Oh, that's a good one.
Today we have erythritol to test.
Which is actually really interesting because, I think when you hear like the sugar alcohols, it sounds like it is a artificial sweetener, but erythritol is actually naturally derived from certain fruits.
I was volunteering for a dietitian who ran a epilepsy clinic for people that have epilepsy, especially children. Going on a ketogenic diet can be very helpful to minimize the frequency of seizures. And a lot of recipes that she gives to these patients do have erythritol.
So we got the erythritol open. Do you want to give it a swift?
Yeah.
Honestly, it smells like sugar.
It looks a lot like sugar, actually.
This is luckily I got my vacuum on standby.
Hopefully you can see that.
I'm looking forward to trying this. I think it smells nice.
It doesn't smell nice to me, to be honest.
We
have a very, our brains process smells
very differently. That's one thing I've learned, I think.
That's what I've noticed doing these videos.
It smells almost like, I've been to a sugar plantation like a few times.
Oh, interesting.
This smells like the raw sugar.
Are we ready?
Yeah, cheers.
Do you remember which one's which?
This is my
regular.
This is my regular or something.
Wow, I really couldn't taste anything.
Oh.
Could you?
I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, sorry. Could you taste anything? And sugar alcohols are actually less sweet than regular sugar.
I literally can't. It feels cooling on the tongue.
Yeah.
It feels like that feeling that gum puts in your mouth.
Okay, I'm not getting that.
I
tasted nothing. I could feel the crystals on my tongue, but I couldn't actually taste anything. Okay, in the back of my throat, I could kind of sense some sweetness now.
Yeah, I've heard like there's taste receptors that go all the way down here, so maybe this only activates certain ones. I don't know how taste receptors work, but...
Okay. Interesting, because it is used in a lot of baked goods.
I don't really get it, though. So in 1 teaspoon, there are 0 calories. One thing that's important to know about sugar alcohols is because they go through partially undigested, and actually with some other of the non-nutritive sweeteners that go through completely undigested, is that they can cause diarrhea through a process or through a type of diarrhea called osmotic diarrhea, which basically means is they go through undigested and through osmosis, which is like another fun science word, when there's more of a certain thing dissolved in a solution. So in this solution, we're talking about your gastric and intestinal contents. water is drawn into that area to try and balance things out. You know, if you have some digestive issues, you're prone to diarrhea, sugar alcohols and a few of the other ones we spoke about today may not be your best bet.
Especially if you're eating large quantities.
This is the sugar.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you like it now.
No, I'm just honestly, my takeaway from this video is there's just nothing that like sugar.
Nothing better than sugar. Remember we talked about in the sugar addiction video that if you're truly addicted, you'd just be having spoonfuls of sugar. While she finishes licking off that spoon, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Thanks for watching. Bye.